I think I'm live. Yes, I'm live. I see it in the corner. I think I'm in the right spot. Let's just give you a wiggle around. Put you back a bit. How's this? No. Higher, higher, higher. Oh, goodness me. You'd think I'd get this sorted by now, wouldn't you? Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. Just waiting to see if I'm in the right place. 2 of you in. Am I in the right place? Am I in Babble and Dabble? Let's see. I got a thumbs up, so that means yes. Good. Nice to know I'm in the right place at least, because I got it wrong twice last week. Do you remember? On Friday night, we got it wrong twice. Anyway, how's your Monday, everyone? How's it going? It's rainy and miserable and windy and a bit naff in Gloucester. So I've got the curtains drawn and I've been at my desk all day trying to get things done. But it just, I don't know, when the sun, you can't win, can it, the weather? Because when the sun shines out, you just want to be outside in the sunshine doing nice things. And when it's raining and miserable, you just don't feel like you got much motivation. Hi Maria. How you doing? Hi Susanna. Nice to see you all in. So we have got a change to the schedule tonight because our Sue is on a course and so she started that today, and it was today and this evening, and so obviously she's got to go and do a course and progress her skills and all that, and we're all for that, aren't we? So I'm just filling in with some Milliput because I was waxing lyrical about it last week and I did a show with it, and I thought there's lots of things I didn't get to show on the show, demo on the show, that I thought I could bring to you guys and show you how to use it. So that's nice. Hi Andrea. Rubbish weather here in Nairn too. It's rubbish. You have to have that necklace. Can you see it? Can you see it, Nancy? Because I can't see it. This is just in case you can't, this is one of the shapes that I designed for a collection of stencils I made with Debbie Bolford. So Debbie cut these shapes for me, and then I used the dot art technique that Sue taught me to looks like a beard, doesn't it? That Sue taught me to decorate it. So just using the dot tools to decorate. Yeah, it's sort of tribal, isn't it? Evening Sarah and all the other lovelies on here. So evening everybody that's watching. Sarah says good evening. Isn't that nice? We'll talk to each other as well. Oh, thanks Jane, Sarah Jane. Yeah, it's nice. I've got so much jewellery to choose from. Hi Dragon, she's in. Oh, it's nice you could join us as well. What's it like where you are? Is it nice and sunny? Hi Katie, just popping in. I have a uni tutorial tonight for my final essay. Final essay though, that's exciting. So hi to everybody from Katie. Oh Katie, I've got all our photos today on a memory stick. So I went to see them Friday from the photo shoot because Katie was one of the wonderful glamorous models. I went to see them on Friday, yes, and then today the photographer has given me 750 photographs on a memory stick, and she is also, so, and then next Friday, so that's all the photos, and then on Friday I collect all the edits, so all the ones that she's done all her special magic to. So, and there's 200 of those, so I've got quite a few to choose from. I'm almost thinking that choosing the photographs might be trickier than writing the book. We'll see. Hi Gabrielle. Yes, good luck with it, Katie. Good luck with your final essay. What is it on? Hi, Jenny. How are you doing? Yeah, what is your final essay on? Oh, by the way, Katie, I absolutely love what you did with that scarf. So I'm always faffing with scarves, and I've been thinking about altering a scarf for my nephew's wedding, and then you came up and did that video and you started talking. I was thinking, I need that top she's wearing. And then you said you're doing a video on it. So I can't wait for that. I need to really stay focused to know when it is. Can you do me a private message to tell me when the video is, because I need to see it, or put a link to or a date when it's going to be on here, because I need to see how you did that with the scarf. It looked amazing. That slash neckline is so for me as well with my big bum, because it just makes my shoulders wider. So anything that does that helps slim them hips without the dieting. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so Katie's outfits of the day, just wicked all the time. Hi, Mandy. Wow, that's a lit. That's a lot. Yes, it's a lot of photos. A whole lot of photos. But yeah, we're all sending you lots of luck for your last essay, Katie. And what a nice feeling, though, to be doing the last one. That's a nice feeling. I came off the phone with my son a few minutes ago, and it's been his first year at college. So obviously they left school early last year because of the pandemic. Didn't get to do his GCSEs, but luckily he'd done very well in his mocks. So he got his place at college. And of course, his first college year has just been just not the experience that they should get, has it? And to be fair, hasn't been the most organised. I don't want to slate anybody too much, but it hasn't. And then he's moved house twice, actually 3 times, but it's a long story. He's broke his arm, you know, we've had family things going on, so it's not been the easiest year for him, and he's in the last few weeks, and they seem to have chucked all the assignments on them in these last few weeks, and he's so incredibly stressed, bless him. So he keeps trying to change his environment to study. Today he's decided he's going to start going to, like now he can, go into a library to study for a bit, or not a library, a cafe, or, yeah, he's really stressed out, bless him. It's, you know, the end is almost in sight, but then they just keep chucking more on him. So poor little chicken, I did feel for him. And it's, you know, it's not easy telling a 16, 17-year-old lad to do some breathing exercises, is it? Doesn't go down too well. Oh, Mandy, you had your first dose of the jab today. Feel okay so far? Fingers crossed it continues. Wow, that's amazing. Did you feel emotional, Mandy, when you went? I felt so emotional. Because there's been mixed feelings about the jab, hasn't there? And you know, and I know friends of mine are not going to have it, and friends that can't wait to have it, and lots of mixed emotions. And of course, as you all know, my sister had a stroke recently, which was not long after having the jab, so it confirms all those, or it stirs up all those fears. But I went for mine the other day, on Saturday after my show at JM, and I went, and they said you have to sit in the car 15 minutes, and I thought, oh, I'm fine. And I got in the car, and then I sat in and I thought, I'm just going to drive home. And I sat in the car, and I was like, ooh, I felt all giddy and a bit rushing, and I was scared to death. But then I just felt a bit nauseous, so hopefully, Mandy, you will escape it. But I'll tell you what, oh, my blimmin' arm, oh, doesn't it hurt? I was such a wimp. I actually was like, oh, it so hurts. Not at the time, and I went to bed and I thought, oh, this is good, I've got away with it. I haven't got an achy arm like everybody says. Next morning, I made the mistake of rolling over onto that arm, and oh, didn't I yelp? Ow! And like even now, this cardigan, the sleeve drops, then I have to adjust it because it touches. It really hurts. You had that one. I had that one too, Randy. So fingers crossed for us both. We won't get any side effects. Most people I speak to have a bit of, like, what they say is a bit like a hangover. So, yeah, hubby had to hold me in my seat live. I had a bit of fear of needles. Yeah, it's, you know, but it's got to be done, Mandy. So hopefully it buys us all back our freedom a little bit. So yeah, and I'm, you know, the overriding feeling, I think, when I was there was how grateful I was to all the people that were, one, volunteering there, two, that have put, you know, energy into developing this vaccine, and then this huge rollout. I just felt really proud of everybody there, and I did have a little tear, and I was trying to say thank you with meaning, and you know, they're so used to hearing thank you, and I was like, no, thank you, like I really mean it. But you got your mask on, haven't you? Thank you very much. You're trying to say it with your eyes. But yeah, no, it's fabulous, really. Oh, you wimp. I am a wimp, Gabrielle. Honestly, I was a real wimp. I've never been so wimpy in my life. Oh, that's all right, Sarah. It's nice that you joined us. You're in the bath. Oh, well, we're joining you in the bath, and that's nice. Andrea says, I can't wait to my surgery phones with my appointment for the second dose. I'm sick of answering the phone to scammers. Once I have the appointment, I can go back to letting them go to voicemail. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Andrea. Mine was done through a text message, so I haven't been victim to any scammers, luckily. Touch wood. Yeah, you felt the same, emotional. Oh, hi Jane, I'm glad you're here. Hi honey, I'm here. Nice to have you in. So tonight, just in case you missed the first bit and you're wondering, where's Sue? Where's Gem's sidekick Sue? This isn't right. She is on a course, so she's not even keyboard warrioring with us tonight either. She's on a course, so she won't be joining us. I'm sure she'll be. See you later, Katie. Good luck with your essay, my lovely. I'll send you your pictures in a week. So she is on a course tonight, so I've jumped in, and so we'll adjust the schedule. I don't know when we'll move dates to when, but so I've jumped in because I thought I'd come in with the Milliput. I keep remembering to say Milliput, not Saralyn, Milliput. So I thought I'd come in with the Milliput tonight and just show you a few things that I've discovered with it that I think that you would love too. And it's really easy, really really just lovely to work with. So, and much more useful for us crafters than it is for the plumbers. We can do much prettier things with it. So we need to. I'll show you a few pieces if you haven't seen it before. So it looks like this really boring black and white box. And it looks like 2 plastic bags like that. Hi Alison, nice to see you, my lovely. You got some, Jane? Good. Yeah, I know you're in trouble. Did you say you're in trouble? You're on a spending ban now. So here's a couple of pendants, the really simple pendants that I've done with those. They're in bezels. So there's those. And then there is, what have I got over here? Oh, there's another one in a bezel there. I've set some gems into as well. Little cubic zirconias. I'm tangled. Bear with. Tangled up here. Oh. And then there's this one. So this is my favourite one because of all the lovely colours. So I'm going to show you how to achieve those colours as well. That's sort of a free form shape with a texture in. And then we won't go into this much detail tonight, but this is another one. So this is how you can sort of take it more sculptural. So it's really, really versatile because these are really quite fine elements that are now really, really strong. You hear them. So even though they're really fine elements, they're very strong. And because it's actually like an adhesive, whatever you put in it stays put. So you can like set cabochons and gemstones and whatever you want really in it. And then, oh yeah, I've got this one as well. So this one is just sort of just setting a sparkly gem into it. It's so sparkly it's causing problems with the light, isn't it? So that's a gem just caught in there, and that's like a really unusual gem that you might struggle to do something with. So it might be quite difficult to wrap that one or prong set it because it's all irregular. So yeah, that the Milliput really makes a difference. And then I've got something here that's just really quite detailed. She's not finished yet, but she's a sculpture that I'm sort of a more sculptural piece that I'm working on. Yeah, so, but the reason, you know, so she's not refined, but she will be, but I can refine her in different ways. I don't have to do all the work with the actual clay. I can then come back into it and work with it with files and sandpapers and things like that. So, oh, here's our Sue, just quickly popping in and say hi whilst taking a quick break. Oh, hi Sue. I'm glad you can join us very quickly. Oh, hi Susan, sorry. I didn't miss you. lost track. Saw your Milliput show, Jen. Brilliant. Oh, thanks, Gabrielle. Jane, did I see your question? No. Let me see if I can see it. Hi, Katie. Bye, Katie. I got some. Woohoo. Sarah Jane, thanks for the heads up. Makes me laugh a bit when some say they won't have a vaccine. Appreciate it's their choice, but some people don't think twice about having a jab to go on exotic holidays. Yeah, there's lots of strange things people don't mind having in their body, but no respect the vaccine. I get it. I completely understand, and you know, I dabbled in that thought myself. And you know, perhaps if I was younger, I might even be more cautious. But you know, everybody's got their own, and I certainly don't slate anybody's opinion. Really, it's complete personal choice. I get it, and I don't want to start a debate on here anyway. So anyway, did you see my question on Mojo? No, Jane, I haven't seen your question on Mojo. Ask me here. I love that purple one. Can't wait for my Milliput kit to arrive. Yeah, you're gonna be more excited even after today, because I'll show you can colour it and sand it and exciting stuff. Mandy says, I plan on getting some Milliput very soon to have a play with. You completely inspired me. Oh, that's good. That's good. You adore the orthoceras put my teeth in. That's I'm doing a Sue then, so if Sue was here, she'd have to put her teeth in for that one. The orthoceras pendant, thank you, Gabrielle. Jane, she's amazing. You like the lady. And everybody's saying hello to Sue. Hello, Sue. Oh, sorry, my camera's down. I keep putting my thumb in the way. Put that down because that's gone. You enjoyed the course, Alison? Oh, is that to Sue? Did you do Sue's course? Or did you do the paint pouring or the dot art? Both are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I know Sue's got more dates up. So, and I think there's one this week, which you've got time, or next week, which you've got time to book for, because Sue does the kits and everything to go with it. And it's all, the price is all in. So, they're absolutely brilliant. Sue says, I love your demo with the Milliput and can't wait to have a go. No, and Sue did. I did give Sue a sneaky tube of Milliput to have a go with. Sarah, you said you did a lot of breastfeeding because you were researching. No, you did a lot of research because you were breastfeeding at the time, and very 50-50. You wouldn't have had it whilst pregnant, but did have when breastfeeding after a lot of dithering and research. This is it. This is it. You know, I know somebody who's pregnant who's not having it while they're pregnant, or can't have it while they're pregnant. It's, you know, but yeah, that's it. It's you've got to make your own decision, haven't you? And you know, that's all you can do. Can you use stamp to create imprints into the Milliput? Yes, Jane. Yes, you can, and that's what I'm going to talk to you more about tonight. So hopefully that will, I can cover all your questions, and you'll have to bear with me answering questions and demoing, because I won't be able to see and demo at the same time. So I will try and keep up, and I'll keep checking in to see if I'm covering everything. But it'd be lovely if I could hear you. Perhaps we should, yeah, Zoom's a nice option for actually hearing people ask questions. Alison, no, Sue is on her course. What was that? And wanted her to enjoy the course. Not managed to go on any courses yet. Oh, you're telling Sue to enjoy her course. I see. Yeah, well, I'm glad you put a yet on there, because yeah, definitely get on one of Sue's. It's a wonderful experience, a lovely day with Sue anyway. Pouring workshop, want to take it, and no, I can't get kit, thanks. So that's a message for Sue. So Nancy, Sue's not actually in with us reading the messages tonight, so she might catch that tomorrow. If not, PM Sue. Sarah, not while in the bath, no. Jem, I got an invite to find out more about creative confidence. Tell us more. Oh, okay, Sue. And Sue says to Nancy, I've sent you an email. There you go. Lots of mandala type stamps. Oh, that's good then, Jane. They'll look nice. Yeah, so because I keep getting asked, Right, so most of you know I'm writing a book. You're probably fed up to the back teeth of me talking about it. I'm almost fed up with talking about it. But yeah, the book is like almost is in those stages now. I've got a meeting with the designer tomorrow, the book designer tomorrow, to discuss the layout and everything. And my quotes are all back in, and sizes and proportions all back in from the printer, so we're set to go pretty much. And all the images obviously to select from those photos, but we're good to go. So I figured that so what happened today was you didn't get an invite. Oh, Jane, I'm so sorry. It just does a random, it does a batch of people. It does my close friends, and it just does a batch of invites. But it's an open event on Crow's Mojo. So if you go into Crow's Mojo, you'll find the event. It's on the 23rd of this month. And it's on... Don't ever get fed up of talking about it. No, I just don't want everybody else to get fed up. By the time it's launched, everybody like, oh, thank God for that, it's done. So where was I? So yeah, so on the 23rd, it's a Sunday, it's at 3 o'clock. So it's an afternoon natter really. And what I've done is ask my mojos, who are just the most stunning group of supportive creatives there are, and a massive inspiration on my journey. So I wanted to do it in, I've done everything first in Crow's Mojo because they're my first tribe. And so what happened this morning was the lovely Tracy Spurgeon contacted me and asked if she could interview me about my forthcoming book for something that for lives that she puts out on Wednesdays to the silver clay community. So I was like, oh yeah, that'd be amazing. And then I was like, oh my God, I need to really like hone in what I say about the book, because it is so many things, and it can be so many things to so many different people. It's really hard to cinch in and describe what it is, even though I've had many attempts at sort of describing it. So what I thought was, if I put an event up, like an open Q&A, you guys can help, you can quiz me, put me on the spot and ask me lots of questions, and it will help maybe sort of me anticipate what questions I might get asked and actually develop my answers. So it's an opportunity to, yeah, call me out on things and ask me questions about the book, but also make it nice and clear what it actually is, who it's for, and how it can help. So yeah, so that's on the 23rd. If you pop over to oh, Sue, bless you, thank you, my darling, go and get on your course and enjoy it. Sue's put a link in, so thanks, Sue. So yeah, you can, no rude ones, Jane. No rude questions. Well, you know, you can chuck a sneaky one in, I don't mind. Yeah, so that's what it is. And yeah, so hopefully by then I will also have, you know, something to show you as well, which would be really nice. Yeah, so that's over in Crow's Mojo, 23rd at 3 o'clock. So yeah, hope you can join me there, and hopefully I'll know what my book's about by then. Right, okay, so what have I missed? Alison Palmer, I didn't see a green one. That's interesting. Lends itself to festive makes. Oh, there we go. See, I'm behind. Never ever fed up. Blah blah blah. You stumbled across black Milliput. Any thoughts on that, Jem? Yes, I have lots of thoughts on black. So, yes, get the black Milliput as well, because it does exactly the same thing. It just gives you a different neutral background. And now the black's really nice because you can get lovely contrast, and there's lots of interesting things you can do by mixing the two together. There's actually a terracotta, there's a green, there's a terracotta, there's quite a few colours, and it's because, so it's used in the plumbing industry, that's where it was developed. Then it sort of got picked up by model makers, you know, the little like Airfix models and little models, for them to like fill in the holes in their models, because it's like a really fine filler. So it was picked up by them and developed by them, and so that's where the other colours came in. And then it was picked up by sort of sculptors and people that customize models. So that like horses, you may have seen customized horse models where you sort of send a picture of your horse. The artist takes a standard horse form, like a plastic horse form, and then adjusts that horse form to make it look like your horse. There's lots of things like that, and so these other things have come into play since then. But yeah, you can, all the colors can be mixed together to give you really interesting results. However, the white is probably the most versatile because you can color it really easily. So you can put a pigment in with it to make it whatever color you like. You can paint it after, you know, it will take the color really nicely. So the white is probably the most versatile, but definitely if you see other colors, go for it. Where are we? Love hearing you talking about it. You deserve to be proud and share it with us. Oh, thanks, Sarah. What is that you miss? What's that? You miss a start. So Kaylee, we're talking about Milliput tonight and what you can use it for, other than just sort of putting gems into it and using it, because I think it was used mainly like a cerulean sort of to stick gems into, but I'm going to use it a bit more organically today. So I'm just going to talk you all through that. Is that Andrea? You love hearing about your book. Oh, thank you. You've got the green one. Yeah, it's great to give it a go, and of course you can color it. But if it's already a color, the type of paint you use to color it might vary. So I don't know how dark the green one is. Where are we? Oh, you had trouble getting in. Oh, sorry, Marjorie. I'm glad you found us now. And Jane, you're really excited by this medium. So, okay, on that note, shall we get going then? Because there's a few things I'm going to show you. So as well as working with the Milliput, I'm also going to show you how to use the Siligum 2-part sort of moulding compound as well. So we're going to make our own moulds. And so we'll do a bit of that, and then we're going to do some painting. We've got some alcohol inks, we've got some mica powders, and all sorts. Yeah. So first thing I think I'll talk to you about is how to mix the product. So it comes in a tube like this. It goes such a long way, so it looks like quite a small tube, but I can tell you it goes so far. So I did this piece. Okay, so this piece was a result. So this is my biggest piece. It's quite a substantial piece. This piece was because I mixed too much to start with and had loads left and it was going to set. So I just had to use it. So this one is a result of that, and that's why it's quite chunky and big, but actually it's worked really well. But so I made this massive chunky one. I made the lady, all the pendants, and I think 17 other pendants, and this one, all out of one tube. So it goes such a long way. Obviously, the bigger the project, the more you're going to need, but you can do these smaller pieces with a relatively small amount, and you've got quite a good working time with it. So so it says here, some uses of Milliput are modelling, sculpting and wood turning, restoration of porcelain and other ceramics suitable for repair to UPVC and for chips in baths, sinks and tiles, which is a really handy household thing to have, because you can fix those leaks under the sink, and you know, the crack in the bath and the hole around the plug hole. You can fix all those things as well as using it with other things. The one Jem's wearing is laser cut. Oh, thanks, Gabrielle. It's a laser cut MDF with dot art design. Yeah, so these were pendants that I had cut with Debbie Bolford. I don't think we've got any left, but I get asked about it a lot, so maybe we should get some back at JM. Yeah, so and I'm going to read the instructions on the back because I think it's probably the most concise way. So well, let me tell you what it is first. It says Milliput is a versatile epoxy putty which is highly adhesive to most materials. Milliput can be sculpted, and once cured can be machined, drilled, tapped, turned, filed, sawn, sandpapered and painted. So you can just already think about how easy it is, or how many uses it's got. So then you mix to get it to, it comes in 2 parts like this. You get it out. This I've already used some of this, so it's bigger than that. They fill the box. They're the length of the box usually. You mix equal amounts of each, and you have to really knead it in together, which we'll do together in a minute. So I'll read you what it says here, instructions. It says, mix equal quantities of the 2 sticks by rolling and kneading it for at least 7 minutes. This is most important when mixing superfine white milliput, as the sticks are the same colour. Milliput becomes rock hard in 3 to 4 hours at normal room temperature. Store in cool, dry conditions. Further instructions and product information can be found on our website. Okay, so it doesn't dry, it's never wet, it doesn't dry, it sets. So it sort of, the reaction takes place and it sets. Okay, so it's not going to speed up the process necessarily if you blow it with a hairdryer. It just needs that time to set. So I did these this morning and they're ready to work. So I could drill that, I could sand it, I can file it, whatever. So there, that's, you know, it's really quite quick. Is there a website where I can order some MDF pieces you did your pour on last week? No, I don't know. Is Debbie Bolford? So Debbie Bolford Designs. I don't know if I've got a bit of Debbie's packaging somewhere. I don't know if she only supplies those products to Jewelry Maker or if she does her own range, but she might do her own range that you could then use. So it's worth having a look at Debbie Bolford Designs and see if there's any on there. Yeah, because I know we sold out on JM, so yeah, no, take a look there. That's the only place I know at the moment you can do it. So you can put it in an airtight container to keep it. No, no, Jane. Once you've mixed it together, it's going to set wherever it is. There's no sort of stopping the process. Once it's mixed, it just sets. So putting in an airtight container won't help. When it's not mixed, you can just keep it in these bags, and that's enough to keep it from, the reaction won't take place if they're separate. So once they're mixed, you've got like 4 hours before it's properly set. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, Debbie Bolford Designs. Have a look on there. She may have some. It may be worth just dropping her an email through the shop or a contact form and seeing if she, you know, if she has any. She might have a mixed bag of, you know, leftovers. I just don't know how it works, whether they're exclusive to JM or whether she sells them as a stock. It's a chemical reaction similar to resin. That's right, Gabrielle. So yeah, it's not going to dry necessarily. It will set. You can buy MDF shapes on eBay. Yes, you can. You can find them. Can you use gold leaf on it? Yes, Leanne, you can. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix, because once you've mixed it, you've got about, when it's first mixed, it's too tacky to really do any sculpting with. It's too sticky. So what we're going to do, what we're going to use it for, we really want it to be sort of about, we need it to sit for about half an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it with you, talk you through how to mix it, and then we're going to just put it to the side, do other things, and then we're going to come back to it and use it. Okay, so it's, like I said, when it's first mixed, it's really, really tacky. So I'm going to take my rubber gloves. I'm going to put you down so you can see, so bear with. Down onto the desk, and I'm going to have a sip of coffee because I almost forgot I'd made my coffee. Look at my messy surfaces. I think I need some new mats and things that are a bit cleaner, because I just keep making a mess of them. And I'm going to put some gloves on to do this, right? And I'm doing this not because it's toxic or nasty or not nice for your skin or there's any, you know, nastiness in it, because it's perfectly safe for your hands. It's just that when I'm mixing it and it's really, really tacky, I've got really, really dry fingers and really, really deep fingerprints. And so when I mix it, it gets into every crack and crevice on my hand and it won't come off. It just stays. Okay, so actually on that note, another really useful thing to have at hand is some baby wipes, because it's really useful for getting it off whilst it's still not set. Okay, so then I'm going to take 2 equal parts. I'm going to mix myself quite a bit because we're going to do quite a few things and I don't want to do it on a tiny scale, so I can show you. So I'm going to mix. You don't have to be scientific necessarily about this and really measury. Just make sure you've got roughly the same amount. Looks like I might need a bit more of that one. So roughly the same amount of each. Try not to let them touch so you don't contaminate each. Do the packs back up. I'll pop those over to the side. And then we're just going to mix these in. So first I'm going to squish them. I'm going to stick to my gloves as much as anything else. I got already picked up bits of paint off my workstation. Bring this down. So I'm going to squish it all together. So I'm just starting that process of getting it mixed in. Now, I'm going to keep just folding it. And the reason it was saying like 7 to 8 minutes is because you really need it to blend. Now, with the coloured ones, the hardener and the putty, or the 2 separate sticks, are different colours. So it's easier to see when it's all blended in, because it, you know, you can see the sort of differences in the colour of it, because these are both white. You don't know, so you sort of have to mix it as much as you think it's mixed and then go on a little bit more. Okay, so folding, twisting, pressing it into each other will all help. I'm just going to keep going. You see it's really sticky on my gloves, but it's nowhere near as sticky as if you do it on your hands. Because when I was mixing this with my gloves on, because I made the mistake at first and not using gloves, because I actually really hate using gloves, because I don't feel sort of connected to my pieces when I'm using gloves. So even when I'm using alcohol inks, I think, oh, I really should wear gloves, but I don't, because I don't know, you lose that bit of connection. But I did learn that this is not coming out of your fingers for days, particularly if you've got dry skin like mine or rough skin like mine. Okay, so we just keep kneading and really pushing it in. It gets stickier and stickier, and you're looking, it gets warmer as well, and that warming is all part of the reaction. So if it's getting warm, that's a good sign that it's mixing in together. Okay. So yeah, just keeping on. Twisting is good. And then pushing that back in together. Okay. So we're definitely getting somewhere close. I know it says 7 minutes, but we will do a bit more when we come to work with it as well. So when you're thinking about doing your projects, there's a few things that will help. So if you've got your dot art tools, they're really useful, because you've got all those lovely sort of ball ends, all different sizes, to give you your dappled effects and your dimpled effects. And then any of your polymer clay or silver clay sheets for sort of what they called texture sheets. They're really good and useful. You can use any of these things. What you must ensure you do though is immediately after you've used them, you must wash them, because like I said, this is an adhesive, so it will stick, and it will stick fast. It's a very strong adhesive. So anything you work with, if you don't get it off straight away, it's going to stick. And that's okay with your metal tools, because you can sort of file it off, but your plastic tools and things like that, it's very hard to remove. Right, so I think I've pretty much got that mixed. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to roll it into a nice ball. I'm going to pop it off to the side. And like I said, I'm going to leave that for about I don't know, 15-20 minutes is ideal, really. A bit longer, maybe half an hour. Do you know what? It's quite strenuous work that. I'm actually quite worn out. So, well, whilst that's sort of sitting, we'll talk about some textures and things that you can use to embed, and also some things you can use. I've got my handy drawer over here with everything. Literally, I can sit here and just touch everything and get everything. Well, I can't actually quite reach those shelves, but I'm sure I'll bring them a bit closer at some point, so I don't ever actually have to stand up in this room. Oh, Claire, she's on a course. Yeah, Sue's on a course tonight. She's left us to go about her own further development, but she couldn't help herself. She's popped in and told me what I should be saying, but she's not here making a mischief. What else have I missed? Let me see if I've missed anything when I've had that down on the... Your son would like it. Yes, Jane, yeah. And of course, because it's non-toxic, it's quite safe as well for younger people to use. Hi, Wendy, my lovely. So Gabrielle's answering a question. Can you use gold leaf? Yes. She does have some MDF shapes for sale on her website. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's good. Okay. Right, okay, yeah, I'm caught up. You thought it was quiet, Claire? Yeah, I know. Mind you, if Sue was here, I think she would be really engrossed in this, so we'd probably lose her anyway. So, okay, so a few things while we're waiting for that we could have ready. So we could have maybe some bezels ready that you can use. If you've got these, you can work straight into those. Some little gemstones, like these little gems. They're great because, you know, you can just press those straight into the clay and they'll stay put. So that's really great for setting those sort of things that you might not necessarily have the confidence to set in any other way. At least I can concentrate tonight, yeah. A cabochon, perhaps, that's something else you can pop in. So you've got any cabs. And I would say cabochons without clarity are the best, because obviously if they are clear and you can see through, you've got to consider what you're seeing through onto. So you're just going to have a white clay background, so it might be worth considering that first. What else can you have ready? So your tools for like your dot art tools, things like that, anything that can make an impression is really good. You'll want to have some water ready. So I've got some water here, and this is to dampen my tools and dampen my surfaces to help prevent the clay sticking. And I've got a couple of paint brushes, and that helps me get into details. It can also help me smooth down the resin as well, the epoxy. I'm going to call it clay, okay? The epoxy clay. A couple of paint brushes. We'll need those for painting as well. And then other things like alcohol inks are brilliant for colouring, which I'm going to show you tonight. What else? Anything really. Mica powders, gold flakes, gold leaf, you can put that on. So things you can put in to here is you can put in with this mix. You can actually put micas in with this. You just don't want to make it too sort of dry. So get your equal parts, then fold in your mica powders, and you can get the micas going all the way through. Chips and nuggets are ideal to put into your pendants. Yeah, you can pop chips in. What else can you colour it with? You can colour it with ink like that, but again, if you're mixing with alcohol inks in there, make sure you're definitely wearing gloves. You can mix oil paint, not acrylic, but oil paint you can mix in with it. You can put gold leaf in it, but it'd be a bit of a waste because it wouldn't evenly distribute and you'd lose a lot of it. So gold leaf and gold flakes probably best over the top. Big bag of broken gemstone chips that could use, yes, that would be ideal. It would be ideal. You just literally, yeah, just pop them in. You could almost like do a mosaic style piece. So there's that. What else? To help stop sticking as well, we can use water, or you can use baby powder, so like a really light fluffy talcum powder or baby powder. That can help. So even baking soda, you could use that. Is that baking soda or no, not so, ignore that, not baking soda. Corn flour, so you could use a bit of corn flour, corn starch you might call it, if you want to as well, and that might help do it. Shell can use leather dyes. I don't know. I don't think you can mix anything water based, so I don't know if leather dye is water based. I think you've got to avoid mixing water based products in with your Milliput. So dry ingredients such as pigments or alcohol inks, pigments or Mica's the dry ingredients you could put in. You can put oil colours in, and you can put alcohol inks, but anything water based I don't think will work to distribute through the epoxy clay. So yeah, I mean, unless you find something, remember this is a very new journey for me as well, so from what I've seen so far, I think it's oil based or alcohol based or dry ingredients you can put in during that stage where you're mixing. Do you want salt and vinegar with your chips? Yeah, and a bit of mayonnaise, I think. Right, so embeddables, literally endless, because like it said, it pretty much sticks to anything, so you can embed anything into it. Whatever you're embedding in, if you're going to paint or colour your surface, just remember that it's going to be in there. So how easy is it to avoid or colour around, things like that. But you know, if you want to do your steampunk pieces, ideal, because you can embed all your tiny watch parts and things like that. Any charms you can embed in. Have you been trying to think what to do with them? Yeah, so there you go, Jenny, you can do that. The other nice thing with this is you can sculpt onto anything. So you know, with polymer clay, you can work it in a very similar way. It's trickier because you've got less working time and it's stickier, but the detail you can get is much finer. So I've tried miniature sculpting faces and things with polymer clay, and I've had no success, and it's frustrated me because I love sculpting, and you know, I thought I could achieve these things with polymer clay, but I just couldn't get there. One, you can't blend the clays in together very well, and two, it's too sticky, and you can't use tools necessarily. So yeah, so I've struggled with using the polymer, but with this clay you can let it set and then come back and use more clay on top and blend it completely seamlessly in. So there's loads of opportunities to not have to do all your work in one go. You can keep coming back to it. Now, in terms of how long you've got to work with it, it sets hard within about 4 hours. Okay, so you only have, and we can't work with it straight away because it's too sticky, so you sort of take half an hour off of that. So from you mix it, half an hour later you can sort of start working with it in the way we're going to work with it tonight, and then you've probably got about 2 hours where you can still get away with working it. So that's, and then after that you're not going to get anywhere with it because it's going to be too set and too difficult to blend or make into nice shapes. So yeah, so once you've mixed it, you haven't got actually that long a window. So, and it's surprising, isn't it, because you don't realize how long sometimes when you're on detailed pieces, how long you're spending. So when I was doing that lady, I'd mixed myself a big blob of clay to work with, and that's how I ended up with this pendant, because I literally was running out of time and the clay was setting, and that was that. I had to just, it was either throw that away or make something with it. So that's what I did, but at least you got that option. Okay, so let's have a look at texture sheets. So these are a really great way of creating nice patterns and textures. So this one, believe it or not, that has been washed. It's just that my baby wipes have left a sheen in it. So this this is a texture sheet. Now you might know of this lady who designed and made and produced these. This is Natalia Coleman's texture sheet, and it's one of my favorites. It's like a tiger or zebra print pattern, whatever you fancy really, and that's a nice deep texture sheet. So I think Natalia would have made that for metal clays back in the day, back in previous life, with Natalia doing the metal clays before she became the angel lady. So I've got that one, which is what created this piece. So you can see it's a nice deep texture. I love that. Yeah, the broken chips are brilliant in resin too. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And then I've got this. This is probably a Lisa Pavalka. Where is it? Oh, Helen Brow. Another texture sheet, and this has got lots. And if you can see this one here, this one created this pendant. And so in the little eyelets, in the little eyes in there, I just dotted the gems. So that created that one. So it's nice. You can either pick a little bit of it, or you can use the whole sheet. It's up to you. Or you can make your own. So I've got some here that I've made my own texture sheets. So some of you may know I do copper etch art. So I make paintings, and well, not paintings, I make, you know, pieces of wall art, things like that, by etching copper, and a range of jewellery with etching copper. And you get some lovely etches sometimes. So sometimes I take a mould of those etches, and that's what these are. So this is a mould of an etching, and that's this one. So it's just nice to be able to use that again. So if you've done anything that you've created and you want to use it again, it's a nice way to keep it forever and be able to replicate it. And then there's this one, which created this one. Ooh. Looks like hieroglyphics, doesn't it? So yeah, so I thought I'd just show you quickly how to create those texture sheets yourself. So you can literally choose any texture, because this stuff is pretty amazing. So this is a two-part silicone mold, two-part silicone molding compound. It's called Siligum, not silicone as I called it on JM the other day. In fact, that one, something's happened to that blue one. I don't think that's going to mix, so we go and get, I've got a new one, but you're going to have to bear with me while I get that, get it out of the right box. Let me see if my filing system works. Over here is my modelling box. And can you see I have a nice supply of Milliput and tools. Right, here we go. But I do seem to have lost all of my mica powders. I don't know where they've gone. I think my brother might have them. I only have this silver one left now. Right, so this is what it is. This is what it looks like. Silicone by Gedio Pebio. Silicone moulding paste, and basically it's the same process as we've just done. You mix two parts together. You've only got a very short window of working time, so you need what you're going to take a mould of ready and ready to go. So what I get, these two pots, make sure you don't contaminate them, so you always, you know, make sure you take the blue one out with one hand and the white out with the other, and don't, you know, cross contaminate. That's what happened with this tub, and this one's gone a bit solid, so I think I've just contaminated it. And then I thought I would take a texture of this. So this is one of my brother's fractal burns onto a serving board. There he is, the crazy crow. And these fractal burns are just so beautiful. the patterns, I thought I would try and take a mould off of there and then show you how it goes. So let's do it. Okay, so I'll put that ready, and I'm going to mix my 2 parts. So I'm just going to, bear with me, I'm just going to take the blue one out with this hand, the white one out with this hand, and then I'm going to move you down, I promise. You can see what I'm doing. Just see if I've got the same amount on each. You have to do one left, one right, so you don't contaminate. Yeah, right, the same amount. Put them together, and I'm going to squish and squish and squish. Now it's easier to see with this if it's mixed, because obviously it's blue and white, and it will all go to like a pale blue, and we want to mix it. Now it's not sticky at all, this, so it's not going to damage whatever you take a mold from. It's not going to hurt it. It's going to lift out quite easily, she says. Let's hope. But if you are worried, again, you can use corn flour down onto the surface, but if you do that, just remember you will get the imprint of the corn flour. So this is like really sensitive, this stuff, to imprints, and it's great for taking imprints of fingerprints, for, you know, fingerprint jewelry. The indent is so clear. Okay, so this is pretty much mixed, so I'm going to take it down so that you can see the board. Let me see, it's telling me I've got to rotate my phone, so hopefully it's all right for you. How's that? Right, so which bit shall I take? I think I'm going to go for this area here. It's got a lot going on, so I'm going to sort of flatten it out a bit. Okay, and then pick the area. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to push it in, and I'm going to take something nice and flat and just give it a press down, so that got a nice flat surface. Okay, and then I'm just going to leave that for about, takes about 3 minutes, and we'll know when it's done. So you can do like the nail test. You push a nail in, if the indent stays, it's not ready. And if you're anything like me, you'll do this about 16 times before you take it off, because you'll be like, is it ready yet? No. Is it ready yet? No. And you'll do that a million times. But this is a really nice way of doing it. And I know people like Debbie Bolford, who we've talked about before, that have this in their handbag, so that whenever they're out and about and they see a nice texture, they can just nab it with this, because you can literally take a bit of a texture of a bit of tree, or a drain cover, or, you know, a moulding on the wall, or interesting brickwork, or whatever, really. So it's a really great medium for that. Let's test it again. No, not ready yet. It's the same stuff you use at the dentist as well. So you can take your own tooth impressions with this. So you can see those nail marks are they're bouncing out much quicker. They're not as deep as they were. So it's get in there. Okay. I'll put that over there for now. And then see. Right, okay, so while that's setting, let's have a go. Let me see. So this now, I don't know if you really could tell how sticky it was before, but it's a lot less sticky. It's got some residue on the paper there, and you will get that. So this, by the way, is just a little bit of Teflon, a Teflon oven liner sheet. So you can buy the oven liner sheets quite cheaply, really. If you get a decent one, you can pay about £8, but you'll get a massive sheet, and then you just chop it into small working squares, and then you've got lots of little squares to work on. And they're great because resin doesn't stick to it. This sticks to it, but because it pretty much sticks to anything, but it's not as bad as trying to get it off a different surface. Okay, so this stage it's still clay, so you can sort of take it off and put it in. So you can see now the tackiness has gone enough for it not to be sort of sticking in my fingers, so I can use it here now. So I'm just going to take a little blob, well, this is actually quite a big blob, off, and I'm going to show you What should I show you first? Hi Shafika, or Chef. Hi Gemma, the rest of you lovely people, says Shafika. How about top drill gemstones? Can you hide the hole? Yeah, sure you can, Jane. Yeah, pretty sure you could hide it. So what should I show you first? Oh, I'm so stuck now to know what to show you first. Right, let's set a cab. Let's set a cabochon. So let's say we've got this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mold my shape into roughly the shape of that cabochon. Okay, so it's like a pear shape, isn't it? So roughly, and maybe a little bit bigger than it actually is. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop that down and then position it on, and I'm going to push it in, so give it a push and a wiggle in. Okay, now I pushed it really hard onto that background there, so onto the thing there, so I don't really want it to get too stuck down. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush and just let some water drop in behind it, and it just sort of loosens it up and I'll allow it not to stick for now, because we don't want to do a load of work to this and then have to distort it getting it off. So if we just, you know, keep it sort of wet behind. Okay, so that cabochon is, once that's set, that's not going anywhere. But what we can do with this outside is we can manipulate the outside so that it looks pretty. So we can push it up around, slightly around the sides. Okay, smooth it. So if you want to smooth it, the best thing to do is get your fingers wet and smooth it around. Okay, and then if we just sort of pull the clay upwards, we can even get a drill hole, sort of mimic up a drill hole in the top. So I'm pulling the clay up towards the end of that cabochon, trying to keep the sort of width consistent around the outside. If I pull that up there, I can then take a pokey tool, so then make sure it's wet when you use it, because then it will go through the clay easier. Poke it through that way, wet it again, we can poke it through the other way to sort of close that hole up. Oh, pulled that out a bit fast then. You can fix it, you can close it back up if it goes wrong. Okay, so we've got a hole in there. Not entirely happy with that one, so I'm trying to work a bit fast. You don't have to work this quickly, but I'm aware that I've got a lot to show you, and I've got all my clay to the side. Okay, so that's sort of set in there now. So, and I got a hole at the top, got a little crack there where I split it, so you can get rid of that. Take a paintbrush and just smooth over it, or a silicone tool, silicone end tool you can use, and just smooth it over. Okay, so then we can add a bit of texture to the side. So you can use anything you like, really. In fact, we can use this pokey tool again. So make sure your tools are wet, because they won't stick then, and we can just go round and, you know, put some dents in along the side. And, you know, these textures can be really brought out when you when you paint it and finish it later. So don't worry if you're not loving the texture sort of on its own. It really changes when you do your paint effects and things on it, which I'll show you very shortly. Right, I am doing this very quickly, but you know, you can take your time. You have got enough time to spend time doing this. You know, I mixed a lot, so I can show you lots of things. I wouldn't do that if I was working here. I would just mix what I need, you know, for one project. I've learnt that lesson, because otherwise you can end up wasting it. So, you know, only mix a small amount at a time. Okay, so you can refine this on the outsides. Okay, and then if you want to, you can at this stage, if you want to, just like put the mica powders over it, because it's an adhesive, it's going to stick to it, or your gold leaf. You can take a little bit of extra clay and you can roll it like you would any other sort of polymer or any clay really, icing. And you've got to work sort of quickly with it, because otherwise it stays anywhere too long, it'll stick. So you sort of want to work quickly and lightly with it. So I can take that now and just sort of position it around my cabochon, and move it around, position it wherever I want really. So let's just put that there. And remember, you can always come back and add more, so you don't have to do it all at once. You can just think, okay, I'm just going to do that for now, and then once it's dry you can come back and do something else or add something else in. Okay, so but what we do need to make sure is that before we let that set, we clean up our cabochon, because otherwise that's going to stay on there. It is not too difficult to get the clay off of sort of flat, smooth surfaces after, but it's best if we can get it done before. So a baby wipe is good, and let's just get the majority of that off before we let it set. Okay, so just take a bit of time to clean that up. In fact, you know, before you put any embellishments around the outside, probably would have been a better time to clean it off. Okay, that'll do. Anyway, so there's setting a cabochon, and you can be as decorative or as simple as you like with that, but just remember to make sure you put your drill hole in, although again it can be drilled after, but anything that saves me having to drill out after I've finished is good by me, because that bit, you know, always terrifies me a little bit. After you've spent time making something, to then have to take a drill to it, I always think, oh, wish I didn't have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there anyway. You get the idea. That's what we can do to set a cabochon. So I'm just going to remove that and set it out the way to dry. So you might want to put it on something like a non-stick sheet, baking sheet or something like that, just so you can guarantee it's going to be easier to remove than if it was on like a metal baking tray or something like that. It might be quite, you might have to chisel it off. All right, so before this gets too set, let's do one of these texture sheets. So I'm going to do a freeform piece onto this texture sheet. Now I've got a little spray bottle of water, so I'm going to wet that, make sure that that is nice and wet. Okay, so it's not going to stick to my clay. And then I'm going to just take a lump of this, take a bigger lump. Okay, I'm going to roll it into a ball, and then, oh, hi Karen. It's like polymer clay. It is a lot like polymer clay. You've got less working time. Hopefully, Karen, you will have caught most of the demo. Yeah, it's a bit like polymer clay, but it dries. It sets nicer and more robust. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that sort of, just make the shape that you like really. Okay, and then just take that onto your texture sheet. Okay, and then just give it a press down all over. And again, you can take, so wet that sheet, take that on. If you want it to be nice and flat on one side, press it down with something flat. Okay, and we can peel this off. I'm just hoping I've got everything, got it wet. Yeah, there we go. So I've peeled that off and that's there. And then I can again take my pokey tool, can make a hole. I'm going to make a hole in the top of this one. Make a hole there. Now, like I said before, you can refine it once it's set by sanding it and stuff. If you want to do that work beforehand, you can take a paintbrush and just smooth all the edges with the paintbrush, you know, pushing down, smooth any of the textures. So you sort of brushing that paintbrush across it. Okay, so you can leave it like that, or you can add a bit of sort of shape to it. It's up to you. The drier it is, sort of not drier, the more set it is, the easier it is to make a shape and make it hold. So this one was almost set when I made this shape, which is why I was able to give it that leaf twist. Okay, but the sort of so the closer to it setting it is, the easier it is to achieve that. Okay. So, you know, we can profile it a little bit if you want to, give it a bit of a twist, but, and actually that's going to hold quite well because it is getting to that point where it's setting. I must have been talking for longer than I thought. So yeah, we can, I'm not sure this one really suits, having this shape really suits, but you can play with it and see what you think. All right, so let's do one quickly into a cabochon, and then we'll have a look how that texture that we created ourselves is going. So for the pendant trays, for the bezel frames, we only need a little bit of clay, so probably just a little bit more than that. And what we want is it to be able to sit into the bezel but just be slightly protruding. So what we do is make a ball, pop it into the center and push it down so that it nearly reaches the edges. So like if you just roll around, so I'm rocking my finger around it so it's almost at the edges, it's staying quite circular and it's almost reaching those edges, not quite. Okay, that means that when we push a texture in, that'll spread the rest of it out and we'll hopefully not get too much overlapping the bezel itself. Okay, so we want to make sure, well, this time in fact I'm going to use the Micas. So the Micas are great because there's a couple of things with the Micas. Is one, it makes it nice and dry and stops anything sticking. So when we put the texture sheet on it, it's not going to get sticky, which is really nice. And two, it gives you this gorgeous shiny finish. Now I have used my dry paintbrush, so I just need to find a dry paintbrush. Bear with me without making too much noise. So ideally you want a nice soft paintbrush, and I'll tell you what's great for applying micas to things like this is an eyeshadow brush. So a nice like a nice blending eyeshadow brush, because they're really fine and they sort of match the fine fibres of the mica. I like those, but we've got this one because that's all I could quickly get my hands on. So taking the mica powder, I'm going to take a nice blob and I'm going to brush it over, or push it onto the clay. Okay, don't worry if there's too much. And then the excess I'm just going to sort of brush off onto the actual mold itself. So let's go for this texture because that's where it's landed, so I might as well use it. I'm going to brush the excess over onto there, and I'm going to brush that onto the mold as well. So just the area that I'm going to use in my print. Okay, so just like that. And then we'll take that mold. So it's up to you. You can actually take this and press it down, or you can do it the other way because it's sticky, so it won't matter. So I'll just push that there, and I'm going to give it a press. And what you want to do is keep an eye on the edges if that clay is starting to protrude too much beyond the bezel. Okay, but we'll do that. Oh, and then pick it up, and that texture is in there, no sticking, and we've also pressed in all that mica powder. So once that's set, that's actually ready to wear if you want, because the silver of the mica is on there. Okay, so just brushing any excess off. Once that's set, mica powder you have to seal in with you know, a sealer, so you can get like a polymer clay sealer, which is really nice and easy to apply. You can even do it with a clear nail varnish or a polyurethane acrylic spray or something, but the micas will always want to disappear then, because there's such fine powder, it will just, you know, take off. So yeah, you'll need to seal anything that you put micas on, especially if you're going to wear it, otherwise you'll end up looking, you know, shiny all the time. Okay, so there's a few things. Let's have a look at how that one that we did on Ben's board is looking. So here it is. Put my nail in it. See, can you see now when I put my nail in, it disappears straight away, so it's ready to lift off. So I lift that off. Whoa, look at that. I've got absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to use that. Let's use it now. Gorgeous texture there. Okay, so this one I'm going to, oh, that's so lovely, isn't it? Right. Oh, yeah, it's getting much firmer now, this clay, so I know it's on its way out. This seems to have set quicker than the last lot I used, so we'll see. Right, so again, spray everything with water or cover it with micas. It's up to you, but you have to use something. And I'm just going to roughly make this into the rough shape I want it. I quite like these freeform shaped pendants. They feel just nice and organic, and I like them, but you can refine it after. So then I'm going to take in fact, I'm going to offer it up this way so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pick the bit of the mould I like best. And press it on. And then again, I'm going to use this nice flat side just so I've got an even pressure. Push that in. Oh, the actual thing came away. Hold on, I don't know if I got that impression. I can't tell because the water. No, I don't think I did get a deep enough impression then. Right, so all I'm going to do is roll it back up. Because it's wet, it makes it quite slippery, so it evaporates off quite quickly. So let's try that again. I'm going to put that a bit flatter. And you see, because it's getting a bit harder, it's not taking the impressions quite as well either. So so it is me learning as well as we go. Right, so I think this time I'm not going to press. Oh no, that's not working. Bear with. I'm going to put it down and press into it. Alright, let's see how that worked. That's better. Okay, so I've got a lovely impression in there now. I'm going to leave that one because that's nearly set, so I'm going to pop that one over to the side. But there's a few ways so far. So if I now just clean up. So how are we feeling about it so far? You're feeling quite excited about projects you can do. And they will skew it. Sorry everyone. Back up. Can you put it closer to the camera so we can see your pattern, please? Oh, sorry, Claire. It's because I couldn't see your questions as I was down there. So let me just clean my hands up, and then what I'll do is I'll hold all the ones I've just done up so that you can see them a bit clearer. But it's like I was saying about cleaning your tools straight away. Make sure you do, because otherwise you're, you know, you're going to ruin them. You're not going to have them again to use. So that's the pattern I took of Ben's fractal work. You see, it's a lovely texture. That's really nice. You think you can do this, Nancy? Of course you can. Of course you can do this. And Nancy, in America, if you can't get Milliput, just look for 2-part epoxy clay. It does the same thing, and I think it's more abundant in America anyway, because I think more model makers in America use it than they do in the UK. So look for an epoxy clay if you can't find Milliput. Is this the same stuff that's used for taking imprints of baby hands and feet? This stuff, yes. But yeah, don't use Milliput on baby's hands and feet. That pattern is gorgeous, isn't it? Now, isn't it, Gabrielle? They have it on Amazon. Yes, they definitely got it on Amazon. Using a rolling pin, Barry. Yeah, you could. You've got to be careful that anything you use is going to stick to it. So you just got to be careful that you don't want to use anything that's too important or precious. Hi. So hi Tanya, I'm sorry I missed you come in. I hope you've caught up with what we're up to. Where are we? Teflon sheet. Yes, that's what I've got. Hi, Vari says, hi, would it be easier to use the wipe in the mould first to help get it out? The wipe in the mould first. Sorry, I think because I'm so out of no cooking required. No cooking. That's what that you don't have to bake this stuff. You just leave it alone. That's the hardest thing. What should you lay your wet piece on while it sets? I just put it on a plastic, like a plastic surface is fine, like a nice either one of these silicone sheet or a Teflon baking sheet is brilliant, or my cutting mat. I find it comes off of there quite easily. So yeah, anything like that, or the back of one of your moulds. But ideally, silicone or Teflon is great for letting it set onto. But just don't put it on metals or things like that that's got no flex that you can't then just, crack it off. Otherwise, you probably have to file it off. More like resin, but in a clay form. You mix 2 parts with it then sets. Yes, Gabrielle's answering Karen. So it does work a little bit like polymer clay. There's pros and cons to each. I think I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say it. I think I like this best. Polymer clay you get all these lovely colours with. But I prefer to paint after I finish the project than make in colours. So I think I prefer this. Because use repair and porcelain. Yes, it is. We come back up now. So loving it. Need to find a French equivalent. Yes, Sarah Jane. Just look for 2-part epoxy clay. Milliput might come up in that search, but there's others that come up too. And also, if you're looking for more tutorials and demonstrations with Milliput, look for 2-part epoxy clay demonstrations or tutorials rather than Milliput, because they're very similar. It's just obviously model makers probably have got their own version. They're not necessarily repurposing Milliput. Don't take this the wrong way, Jem, but you are so amazing and inspirational. It's good to know things don't always go right the first time. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I won't take that the wrong way. I definitely won't. I'm not sure there is a wrong way. No, they don't. That's how it goes. Sometimes it goes wrong, and you just have to try again. And like I'm on a learning curve with this medium. In fact, the last 2 weeks I've been on a learning curve because I've had to learn how to paint pour, I've had to learn how to do mosaic tiling, I've had to learn how to, what was the other thing, use Milliput, and now I'm using raffia. So I'm learning all the time, and I do get it very wrong. And so this is one of my raffia disasters. I mean, look at that, it's disgusting. Well, I'm not going to do anything with that. So yeah, I get very frustrated with my mistakes, but you always learn something even when you make a mistake. So you learn either what not to do or how to do it different next time. Am I doing a workshop with it? Yes, I probably will be, and I'll probably be doing a DVD as well. Tracy says, I can't wait to get some. Where do you get it from, Gemma? Please, and get it on Amazon. You might still have it on Jewelry Maker. We had some nice kits with it on Saturday, so if you go back to Saturday show you might find it. Mandy says, as it's used for repairing porcelain, I guess it is suitable to get wet once it's firmly set. Yes, I'm thinking of decorating drinking glasses. Yes, Mandy, goblets and things like that would be ideal. Jane, you're even more excited now. Alison, you'd like to see that? Are you doing a workshop with it? Yes. Okay, so I'm up to date. So yeah, so I think I started on the train of saying, because you don't have to bake it, it makes it so much more versatile what you can use it on. So you can like decorate book covers or picture frames or mirrors. So my sister has wanted a mirror with an octopus sculpted onto it. Now, you know, I was thinking, well, I don't want to use air dry clay because it's not really strong enough, and I don't want to use this. But so Milliput, I can make an armature, and then I can Milliput over the armature, so I can get the bulk of it done in sort of tin foil perhaps, or wire, and then I can build onto it with this stuff, because once it's set, it feels like bone or porcelain. I think the closest thing to what it feels like is like bone. So if you've ever had like a whale bone or anything like that, not that they're really supplied now, but you get the sort of the bones that you use for working leather and things like that, or the letter openers, all those things, you know what the bone feels like, and that's what it feels like. It feels like that. So it's really lovely feel and weight to it once it's finished. It's quite weighty. What sort of brushes did I use? So Jane, for applying the mica powders, a nice soft brush, like a makeup brush. So an eye makeup brush is really good, and it'll save you a fortune on the artist brushes. So pop to Primani or something like that and get some of the cheap eye makeup brushes, and they're ideal for you nice things like applying micas and metallic shimmers and things like that. And then for using onto the clay, you want like a firm nylon brush. So it's got a bit of, it needs a bit of firmness. Don't get caught up on what type, just a nylon is best because they're slightly firmer. So a nice firm paintbrush. But you need that little bit of firmness in it so that it pushes the clay around. But also your rubber tip tools. So if you've got the dot art kit, either mine or Sue's, you have double-ended tools, and they've got the silicone tips on the other end. And the silicone tips are really good for sculpting on this. Just so long as you keep your tools wet is the main thing, because if they're not wet, they stick to the clay. Elaine, thank you for answering the message I sent to Jen Studio to ask if CZs were kiln safe. I didn't know you'd sent that message, Elaine, but I did think it was worth mentioning, because the CZs are what I've used when I've done, I haven't done much silver clay on my own, because I do lack a bit of confidence with the silver clay. I think it's so precious, I don't want to do it. But I've been on a couple of Tracy Spurgeon's workshops, and we've used CZs on them, and that's what she brings with her, so because they can go in the kiln. So yeah, they're definitely good for that. Okay, so I'm glad I answered you by accident, Elena, because I didn't know the question was in. Thanks, just doing an Amazon order, Jane. Yeah, you'll all be ordering on Amazon. Right, so what time is it? Somebody give me a time, Jack. I've got no clock in here without the phone. Somebody tell me what the time is, so I know how long I've got. I could be thinking, oh, it better be time to go, and I might have like still 45 minutes left, or it's 8:30. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, thank you, Gabrielle. So I've got some dry pieces here, so I thought I'd show you how to paint a couple of them. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, did you have to do maths and everything to work that time out as well? I'm really impressed you came in with an answer. Because what is it over there for you? Is it 5:30 in the afternoon? Are you 3 hours or 4 hours behind? I know it's earlier for you. I know it's afternoon anyway. Right, so I'm going to put you down again, and we're going to look at some different techniques for painting and finishing these. Okay, let's come down here. Oh, you got a bit of cleavage then as well, didn't you? Sorry, everyone. Where are we? Okay, so I've got this one here, and this is when that's set. Well, I've got a couple, so there's all of these. So it's too late to put mica powders onto these now because they're dry, so the mica powders wouldn't have anything to hold on to. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first show you how you can just sand this off, and it really is showing you how you can sand it off. It's so easy. You can see I've got a very well used sponge here. This is a sanding sponge, and this is from a car shop, so like Whole Foods or car shop, I don't know how many there are now, anywhere that sells stuff for fixing cars. So this is a car bodywork repair sponge. It's really firm, but it's a really fine grit, and this is really great because you can really push in to all the areas, okay, and it gets in nicely and around the edges. So we can just take this to the clay once it's set, obviously, and just take off all those rough edges. Okay, now the dust that comes off of this is quite fine, so really you want to be wearing a mask or in a ventilated area. Okay, so because the dust is quite fine. Okay, so I'm not going to do too much. I'm literally just showing you that it's really easy. And you can see how firm it is as well, how solid it is. It's a really solid piece. Now, to be honest, this doesn't feel like it's sanding as well as my other piece. And this hasn't been setting as long. So I did this piece at about midday today. So it's been setting for about, what, 7 hours. And it doesn't feel quite as well set as this one did when I sanded it. And this one got the most smoothest, lovely finish on that piece. So maybe, looking at it now, maybe leaving it a bit longer before you do sanding and polishing is probably advisable. And the reason I'm saying that is because when there's not much dust coming off it, which makes me think there's still a little bit of it's still a little bit soft. The other one, when I filed it after the 24 hours then, which it probably was about 24 hours, the dust was really fine, like talc, and this just doesn't seem to be producing as much. So maybe leave it a bit longer, but it's still filing off nicely. So I just tend to just finish it all up like that. Okay, so there's that one. I've got this one here. To be honest, this is really quite nice and smooth. I don't think I really need to do anything. And then this one, maybe a little bit around the edges. Just taking off anything. Also, if at this stage you think, oh, there's a really big crack. Where have I got a crack? I see I got that crack there. If I don't like that and I want to fill it, I can just take make another piece of clay, take it, push it in, rub it over so that it sort of blends in, and then leave that to set, and that'll fill, and you won't see the join, which is one of the reasons I love this over polymer, because if you've got a mistake in polymer clay, it's hard to get a seamless join in it. So you can put new clay over old clay and it will set just the same. Okay, so there's sort of a few things you can do, and again you can actually take a file to it as well, so you can sculpt it and carve it and all sorts now that it's set. Right, so first thing then, I'll show you putting some alcohol inks on. I love the alcohol inks on this because it's so easy and just gives you the most gorgeous effect. So let's do it on this one. Okay, so I'm going to pick, do you know what, I'm going to be good and put the gloves on, because the alcohol inks don't come off either. And I've got a show on Thursday, and if I don't put gloves on, I'm going to have alcoholics on my fingers. Definitely still on Thursday. Oh, I do hate them. I do hate the gloves though. I tell you what I do like the finger protectors. I know they look a little bit funny and rude, but they are really good because it generally is only your fingers that you get mucky, isn't it? And these just roll onto your fingertips. It's just that I try and save them for when I'm doing really tricky, intricate jobs. All right, let's go for ruby red and violet, and well, let's see how we get on with that. Oh, maybe we'll go down into a blue. Let's go into a yeah, we'll go to a blue. Okay, so I'm going to go with these colours. They roughly sort of blend in together, don't they? So I'm going to take, let's bring you in a bit closer so you can see what's going on. Come on, telephone. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of my red. I'm just going to drop it and smush it around. See how I just love alcoholics. Look how it just smushes around. And I'm going to take a bit of my violet, and I love how it just blends itself in together. I don't have to do any work. It just does it all by itself. And then a bit of blue, and there. Just drop a bit there as well. Maybe a bit there. Okay, you see that all moving itself all in together. Okay, and if I pick it up, you'll find you've got little blobs at the back, so then I just pick those up with my finger and just press them on. And the clay is just sort of grabbing it and pulling it into itself. Alright, so there we go. So that's looking quite nice. Alright, and if you don't like it, you pick some back off with a bit of isopropyl or alcohol. You can pick some of the colour off. But I'm going to leave it there because I want quite a strong colour behind, because I'm going to do another layer of colour on top, but with metallics. Okay, so you want quite a strong colour behind the metallics so that it really helps metallics show up. Okay, so leave that one. That's that one. And then with this one, we'll put, I'm going to use alcoholics again, but you can use acrylic. This one I'm going to go with black and lavender. Let's just chuck a bit of lavender in as well. It's a bit spider webby. You see, I just love alcoholic. It's just so easy. And I just spread it out at the back. Alright, there's that one. And then, tell you what, this next one I'm just going to leave as it is. I'm going to leave that one. We'll see what it looks like just leaving the white clay, I think, because I haven't tried that yet myself. Right, I'm going to, oh, I better leave those on because that alcohol isn't dry yet. Okay, now this was bargain of the century. So if anybody's got a range near them, these, £1. £1. That's amazing, isn't it? Where are we? So, do you think it would be dishwasher safe? I'm not sure, Jane. I'm not sure. I would say no. I would err on the side of caution and say no, probably not. What did you use to colour your favourite twisted pendant? Okay, so that was alcoholics. I had an aqua, a purple, and an aqua, a blue, and a pink, and just merged them all in and just let them settle. I did it in exactly the same way as I just did those. Literally just splodged it on and let it move around, and then I'm doing a highlight with these on it, and that's going to show you how to pick those colours up a bit stronger. So these were £1 in the range, and they're watercolours, metallic watercolours, and I thought, can't imagine they're going to be any good for £1, but I thought it's worth getting them to try them. and I'll tell you what, they're absolutely fantastic. The pigment is so strong for a watercolour. I honestly can't believe how good they are. So yeah, highly recommend getting some of those, getting some of these if you've got a range near you. I've got 2 sets. I've got this set and show you the other one actually. They only had 2, otherwise I'd have put them on this one. So you've got the more like your copper, bronze, silver, rust, gold and champagne in that one, and it's very similar in this one. But yeah, I just had to get them because I just thought they were fantastic, and at £1 a pack, I just thought they're worth a try. Okay, so when we're doing this dry brushing with the metallics over the top, we want a dry cloth to sort of scrub our brush off onto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out, let's do this one because this one's ready to go. I'm going to pick out my copper, I think, because that seems like the darkest of these colours. I'm really going to smush that around with some water to get like it really pasty, a really pasty paint. What I love about watercolours, there's no waste, because whatever you don't use just stays in the pan and you know, just sets back again, so there's never any waste with them. Okay, so I've got like a nice paste on there, and obviously with dry brushing you don't want to have too much paint on your brush, so you want to get rid of some. So go onto a different surface, take off the excess. You can always come back and pick that up after, and then dry your brush off a bit. Okay, so there's no like water on there, and then I'm just going to bring the brush gently over in the opposite direction to the way the texture is running. So as I pull that over, I should really be only mainly picking up. I'm going to get some in those gaps a little bit, but that doesn't matter too much. Just picking up it over the top of the texture. When you run out, you can pick up a bit more and you can build it up. Okay, so use the brush sort of flat and just brush that over. So that's, you know, that's looking okay. I think probably I would have liked a background on there, background colour, but actually maybe it looks quite, I don't know, natural or earthy. I don't know whether I like it, but it's you know, it's worth the experiment. Let's maybe, if I give it a bit of a border, I might like it a bit better. If not, I just paint the whole thing and then come back and do something else on it, because that's the beauty of paint, isn't it? You can paint over it. Just, if you don't like it, just paint over it. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it like that and see if it grows on me. If it doesn't, I'll just paint over it and do something else. But there you go. There's watercolors. So that's using a watercolor over the top. These metallics. You can see how it goes on to the clay really easily. There's no pulling off, because watercolors notoriously you don't use in craft projects because it generally pulls away from the material. It's only really any good on paper and things like that. But this, it's really taking it well. Okay, so there's that one. So let's dry brush onto let's take this one. This one I'm going to do with a couple of the different metallics. So this is quite nice and dry now, so I'm going to use this brush. So we've got those metallic colours on there. So to pick out the texture, again, we're just going to take the dry brush over the top and literally keeping my brush nice and flat and taking sort of the side of the brush, not the tip of the brush, across to pick up the texture. Okay, so I think I've done a bit of copper. Let's move down into gold. Smush that around. we just take off the excess. And bring that's too wet. You see, it was too wet. It goes into the, it sort of goes into the crevices. So now I'm just sort of going to try and blend from that copper now into the gold. So I'm just going over the copper slightly and then down a little bit beyond with just the gold. And then I think I might finish with a bit of silver. Yeah, I just got a bit in there I didn't want, so maybe I can pick that out with just a wet paintbrush. Take off some of that. Yeah, so that's coming off quite well because that's alcohol underneath. The water I put on is not affecting the alcohol, so that's really nice, which means I can go over with a wet brush and just sort of take out what I put in with the watercolour that I put in that I don't want in there anymore. Where I got, my brush was too wet and it sort of went, the gold went into the crevices and I didn't like it. Right, let's go for this silvery. And then I'll finish that bit with the silver. You see, those colours were quite dark with the inks, weren't they? But sort of picking up, it does, when you've got a nice dark ink behind, it does allow the, when you do the dry brush over the top, it does allow it to sort of really stand out, so you make the most of that texture. So having that darker background really helps. Okay, well, that's nice. I managed to get joy into that one. So that's nice, isn't it? Right, and then this one. So this one again, you can do the dry brush if you want to. So we might as well, as I've got my brush covered in paint, so I'm just going to pull what's left across the surface, what's left on my paintbrush across. I think that's my favourite. The one you don't think about too much. I'm just using whatever's left on the table here just to pick up. Let's pick up a bit of that. That's nice. There we go. See, can you hear how you've lost me then? I'm going all quiet. Right, so there you go. Let's show you everything a bit closer up. Ta-da! Are you feeling really excited to get started? I bet you are. I've just realised you're on. Oops, glad I made it here. Oh, don't worry, Emma. We've been playing with Milliput. Cheap shimmery nail polish you got from the you got with magazines was the closest we had. Oh, hold on. We're coming back. Right, need to get back to comments. Okay. Is it dishwasher safe? Get the stylo on it. Yes, Claire, that's what I'm building up the courage to do with that lady I've made. I'm building up the courage to use the stylo on it. Right, let me get you where I can read these comments properly. Okay. Can you use acrylic pens? Yes, Jane. Yeah, pretty much anything. You can paint onto it with anything you want. You know, anything like the alcohol inks, things like that. You do need to seal them, so you'll need to varnish it after you've used them. But I would recommend that with any paint you use, or mica powder, you need to seal it as well. Wet and dry sandpaper, yep. 5 hours difference for Nancy. Right, okay, so let me get back to these then. Hand washing only, I wouldn't put it in the dishwasher. It might be fine, but I wouldn't necessarily. Not because the water would be a problem, but because the detergents, I'm not sure, they're a bit stronger, there's more salt content, I don't know. So I would just go with it. Gabrielle, I think Cabochon, can't wait to use this. How exciting. It is exciting. Yeah, it was a brilliant price for those paints. I can see me making some up, says Alison, and then going round to my sister's and raiding her alcohol inks. The alcohol inks, I'm convinced that they're the best. They're the best thing, especially for the backgrounds, because they just blend so beautifully. I've got a kind of colouring book to play with later. That's for watercolour and teaches you how to use them. Excited? Yeah, Sarah, I've seen some of the watercolour books. You get the outlines and then you wash into the outlines. They look really good. Looks lush, says Tanya. Paint the whole thing copper, then dry brush with rich gold. Yep, that's some. And to be honest, Gabrielle, when I come back to this one, I think I probably will change it. I'm not keen on it, but sometimes you just have to let things sit, and they might grow on you. I've definitely had things I didn't like before, and then after a couple of days think, actually, I quite like it. Metallic watercolours really did bring it to life. They do. It makes a complete difference. We could only dream of metallic watercolours when I was a kid. I know, Gabrielle. They seem to come out of nowhere, but they're absolutely brilliant. They're really brilliant. The effect of the metallics is amazing. It is. Cheap shimmery nail polish you got with magazines with the closest we had. Yeah, Sarah. And you know, nail varnish you could use on this as well. That's another option. Where's Sarah Jane? Do you have to seal the watercolour metallics once dried? I would seal any paint, especially in jewellery once dried, yeah, or on craft projects I would seal it. If you're using acrylics or something like that, you can use a wax. You can even wax seal, like a furniture wax. But I have Plasticoat clear varnish, and I've got it in matte, satin and gloss, because I'm, you know, constantly using it for different projects. And I would seal, so if I was sealing something like this one, I would seal it with a spray. But if I was sealing this one, I wouldn't want to spray the stone. I wouldn't want to spray the orthoceras. So I would use Fimo have a varnish which is really good. It's really thin, and you just sort of brush it on. It goes on really quickly, but that one you can have a bit more control about where you put it. So a brush varnish is better, but get a good, if you're going to get a brush varnish, get a good one like the Fimo one, because if it's thick, you get brush marks in it and then it ruins your design. But the Fimo one, you don't get any brush marks in because it's so fine and thin. Thank you, Emma. Got to wait for payday to make any more purchases. Yes, Claire. I'm loving this, Gemma. You've made some great items. Thanks, Karen. Hi, Wendy. You're now in from work. What's been occurring tonight, Gemma? Well, Wendy, you're going to have to watch back because we've been using Milliput tonight. So let's just do a little recap. So we learned how to mix it. We looked at setting times and things like that. We also made our own silicone molds, and then we played with the clays. So this was the one, obviously these were all still settings. So this was the one we took with the mold we made. So it went from this to this. From this is one of our Ben's serving boards that I've nicked. I'll have to put it back before he comes home. Took the mould with the silicone and then put it into our Milliput. So that's going to be a pendant at some point. We also set a cabochon. I stuck my cabochon to the table. Ooh, set a cabochon. So we got a cabochon set in there. We did a few techniques showing you how to roll it and imprint and press into it. So there's that. We also used a pre-bought text. I've stuck all my pieces to the table because I'm picking them up before they're sort of half set. I'm picking them up to show you. So this one was done with a texture sheet. This was a by Natalia texture sheet from probably about 8 years ago, which I love this one. So that's in there. And then we went on to looking at how to paint it. We put some mica powders onto this one. We set one into a bezel, and we've got mica powders and then press the texture in. So the mica powders are now really firmly set in there. Mod Podge woodwork. Got to go now. Who's that? Claire. See you later, Claire. Have a nice rest of the evening and rest of the week. Yeah, so, and then we painted it. We used alcohol inks and we used woodcolours, and we got effects like these. So yeah, so if you have sort of joined in later, that's what we've been up to. So make sure you sort of watch back to see all the things. This is my favourite. This was the one that we sort of did like really blasé, isn't it? This is my favourite. That's really cool, that one. Yeah, so loads tonight, loads of exciting things. I can't wait to do more with it, and I can't wait to see what you do with it as well. So yeah, show us your ideas or what you get up to with it. I think we'll start a Milliput revolution. Pam, hiya. You just joined. Did you say where you got your paints from? Yes, I did, Pam. I got them in the range. Yeah, so there's this set and this set, and they were just like on the end aisle by the craft stuff, by all the paint stuff, and they were £1 a set. I still can't believe it. £1 for the set. They're absolutely brilliant. So I think they're definitely worth having in your stash. Yeah, the range for £1. Oh, you're welcome, Shaz. I didn't know you were here. Been very quiet tonight. Okay, so I think that's all I've got to show you. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure if we'll see you Friday night for a babble, but we'll let you know. And I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. Thank you for staying with me and participating and talking and asking questions. It helps keep me focused with our Sue not here. So that's it. So yeah, I think I'm going to say good night to you all. Bid you all a lovely week. And yes. Yeah, Milliput reminds me of Lilliput too, Jenny, and sometimes I can't remember which it is. Is it Lilliput or Milliput? You've been colouring in. It's been brilliant. Oh, thanks, Mandy. Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I wanted to show you it, so it was a nice opportunity to jump in and cover Sue. So that's cool. Thank you, Emma. Right. That's it. I'm off. I'm going to go and actually, this is the coffee I made, which I still am nowhere near finished. And it's too late for coffee now, so I'm going to have to have a cup of tea. So good night, everyone. Thank you for being with me. And maybe see you Friday. If not, I'll see you Monday. And hopefully it will be me and Sue on Monday. And yeah. Bye.